Hello, Debate Kansas City. Isaac here with you, and today we are going to be discussing Student Congress. And specifically about Student Congress, we're just going to do a general introduction to Student Congress. So let's break down what that word means. Student Congress. Students doing Congress. What is Congress? What does Congress do? Well, Congress passes laws, they debate bills, and they write bills. And that's exactly what you're going to be doing in Student Congress. Writing legislation, debating that legislation, and then hopefully ultimately passing legislation. Students compete in this at both the middle school and high school level. If you come to an average Debate Kansas City tournament, let me just give you a sense of the setup for Student Congress. You would go into a classroom full of about 20 to 30 other students that will be competitors. And up front, and those people will sit in seats that face a table. And at this front table, you will have three individuals that are very important to a session. One individual is the judge. The judge is going to be who scores the speeches that are given by Student Congress members, and we'll talk about the speeches and the format here in a minute. The second person is going to be a student, actually, that you will vote on, and there's another video to come that explains this, but the presiding officer. The presiding officer is the person who's in charge of maintaining the rules in Congress, and we'll also explain a little bit more about that. And then lastly, there's a parliamentarian, and that's the coach or some knowledgeable individual that helps make sure that the session runs according to statute or rule. So you have those three individuals up front, and then you have a classroom full of students. Now, students, when they come to a tournament, should have with them what is known as a docket or a packet of bills. And a packet of bills is simply going to be your debate topic. There's going to be anywhere between 10 to 20 depending on what tournament you go to. And hopefully you've done research and prepared speeches in advance on this docket or list of bills so that you are able to compete. And so a session kind of goes like this. You would open up with the presiding officer, who is most often a student, saying something to the effect of, "I call this session of Student Congress to order. Are there any main motions?" Now, a main motion is just, what are we going to debate? That's essentially what the question is. So a student would be like, PO would call on them, say, "Yes, Senator." And they say, "I move to open debate on the bill concerning Alaskan oil drilling." And then another student in the back would be like, "I second," or "I agree." That's what it means. And then we take a vote. Does Congress want to actually debate this bill? So all in favor of opening the bill on Alaskan oil drilling. PO would count. If it gets a majority of the chamber or majority of the Congress that agrees with it, then they would start to debate the bill concerning Alaskan oil drilling. Now, the very first thing that happens once you bring it up from debate is you need a speech of affirmation or authorship. In other words, who is going to be the first person to support this bill? That individual is recognized by the PO to come up, and they give a 3-minute speech that outlines all the reasons you should be in favor of this piece of legislation. Afterwards, after they're done with their 3-minute speech, they have to answer 2 minutes worth of questions from the Congress. So the Congress gets that opportunity. Now, after the first affirmative speech and the question period, what do you think happens next? That's right, the negative speech. Then we have a 3-minute negative speech. And after that, there's 1 minute of questioning. And then after that negative speech, you have a speech of affirmation, which will also have 1 minute of questioning after it. And this goes back and forth, affirmative, negative, affirmative, negative, affirmative, negative, until you're tired of the debate and you want to move on. And that's when we move to what's called previous question. Now, previous question just is, I move to end debate, essentially. And it requires 2/3 of the chamber to agree, 2/3 of the students in the Student Congress to say, yeah, it's time to move on. So someone would say, I move to previous question. Someone would agree, I second. And then we would take a vote, counted it up, 2/3. All right, now let's vote on the bill. We've ended debate, now we have to vote on the bill. So all in favor of passing the bill concerning Alaskan oil drilling, please raise your hands. Count it up. All right, this bill does indeed pass. And after that, you basically repeat that process over and over and over. Now, a couple other things I need to talk about. First of which is, how do you win? How do you get scored? And there are 2 ways that you can win, or 2 ways you get scored. The first way is simply by giving speeches. Every time you give a speech, you're going to be ranked on a scale of 1 to 6. 1 being the worst, 6 being the best. And so your goal is always to get a 6. And to get a 6, you're going to have a well-organized speech, that is delivered well, that has evidence in it. That's the only way you're going to do. So you're going to have to do some research outside of the actual round to be successful at Student Congress. The other way, besides getting ranked on a scale of 1 to 6, is getting what is known as a nomination. Now, a nomination is simply remember I was telling you about the people up front. It's simply the parliamentarian and the judge picking who they thought was the very best student in the session. So they nominate someone, and a nomination's worth 30 points. So think about it. The best speech you can give is worth 6 points, but a nomination's worth 30 points. And at the end of the day, I just total up scores. So whoever has the highest score will win. So if you get a nomination, chances are you're going to be winning that Student Congress. So you really, really want to focus on getting that nomination. And like I said, at the end of the day, there are generally 2 sessions, in other words, 2 rounds of Student Congress, last anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour. They send me the ballots. I count up, okay, this person got a 6, a 5, and a 4, and I add that up, and then this person got a 5, a 3, and a 2, and then we simply rank 1, 2, 3. Who got the most points, second most points, third most points, and so on down. And that's who's going to determine if you get the trophies. The truth of the matter is this is a really, really fun activity. It's an interesting activity, and there are a couple other videos that are on our YouTube section that you should watch if you're interested in becoming better at Student Congress. This has just been a general global overview of what the activity is. I do hope you decide to participate in it, and I don't have much more to say about this topic in general. If you have more specifics, you can always email me with questions, allenic@umkc.edu, or you can check out our blog, or you can check out other YouTube videos that will explain this further. I thank you for your time, and I'll see you at the tournament.